Hello, welcome back or welcome to my channel. It's Sunshine Lorena and this is my July TBR featuring my Summerween TBR. So another month is basically gone by, guys, and we're already at July. I'm doing another TBR video. This is going to be containing my Summerween TBR because Summerween is back, guys. The Weens are back. Which I absolutely love it. I will do that one first and then I'm going to do my randomization TBR. What I've decided to do this month is I'm going to be using the TBR machine, which is created by Penelope the paperback cat on YouTube, so I will link her channel down below, so go and check her out. She also has this TBR machine on her website where it will give you random prompts, so we will be doing that the second half. I have no idea what books are going to come out of that, but we're going to start with Summerween. Now, as you know, most of you do if you've been watching my channel, that this year I really struggled for several months with my reading. I'm back on track, guys. It's good. But in that time, I also did not take part in any readathons. If you may or may not have noticed, I was like, no, I'm not going to put the pressure on myself. So this is the first readathon in a while that I will be doing, and it's Summerween, which is just like one of the best ones anyway. So if you don't know, it is a week-long readathon that's hosted in summer, because, like, you know, it's when it's not too long to Halloween, but it's hosted by Olivia reads Latte and Gabby reads here on YouTube. Lots of people take part. It's like just a chance to read. You can really read any books you want, but people tend to stick with thrillers and horrors. This time it's taking place from the 7th to the 13th of July. So yes, it is going to be my early July kind of books. I'm going to go through those first. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you my books and tell you which prompts they fit, because there's a few of them that can go across multiple ones. I always do this because in case I don't read as much as I think I'm going to read, which, let's face it, it never is that much, I kind of can cover off all the prompts more or less with all these different books. So let's just kind of get into it. And we're going to kick it off with, first of all, one of like my highly anticipated books of the year. One that I've been wanting to get to, but I've been so busy reading other books in June that I haven't got to it yet, and I really want to get to it. And it's also the only physical book on this Summerween TBR, and that is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. If you saw my book haul, you'd have seen this, but like, look at those edges, guys. Ah, I love it. I also have a tote, which I'm not gonna get it there, but I have the tote as well, so I'm gonna do a vlog for Summerween, guys. If it's nice weather, I'm probably going to be walking around with my tote going to the park, probably. But yes, I feel like everyone has pretty much read this now. Well, not everyone, but you know, it kind of feels like most people have read this. It is considered like contemporary thriller. She normally obviously writes fantasy books, so this is stepping away from that, but I thought this would be perfect. And before I get into the synopsis, in case you don't know what this one's about, this fits read a thriller prompt. And technically, kinda, if I really want to stretch it, it has black on the cover. Bit of a stretch because it is mostly yellow, but that is another prompt that could potentially tick off, but this is the one that doesn't tick off as much as the other ones, but I really want to read this one. Athena Liu is a literary darling and June Hayward is a literally nobody. When Athena dies in a freak accident, June steals her unpublished manuscript and publishes it as her own under the ambiguous name Juniper Song. As evidence threatens June's stolen success, she discovers exactly how far she'll go to keep what she thinks she deserves. What happens next is entirely everyone else's fault. I cannot wait to get to this one. I think it's going to be amazing, and it is like the one book that I really want to read in July. The next one on this list is one that I'll be borrowing from Scribd. I always have a link below if you want to get 2 months free. I get something like a month free as well, so it's always there if you want to do that. But the next one is Carmilla by J. Surgeon LaFun, and this will fit the prompts for read a book in the dark, because it is short, so I should be able to just sit and read it in the dark, at least over a couple of nights, maybe not in one sitting, but at least over a couple of nights, or just lock myself in the dark, even if it's not dark, you know? And then read a manga graphic novella is the other prompt. So this is, like I said, it's short, it is a novella. So this is a classic, and I have been seriously lacking classics this year, so it is good to get a classic on this, and this was actually published before Dracula. And this, if you don't know, is like this is vampires as well. So in an isolated castle deep in the Austrian forest, Laura leads a solitary life with only her ailing father for company, until one moonlit night a horse-drawn carriage crashes into view, carrying an unexpected guest, the beautiful Carmilla. So begins a feverish friendship between Laura and her mysterious and enticing companion. But as Carmilla becomes increasingly strange and volatile, prone to eerie nocturnal wanderings, Laura finds herself tormented by nightmares and growing weaker by the day. Predating Dracula by 26 years, Camilla is the original vampire story. Oh, there we go. I think it's going to be really good. It's going to be really interesting to read a vampire story that actually was before Dracula. I wasn't like a huge fan of Dracula. When I read it, I gave it like 2.5 stars. And I think a large part of it is because originally that was obviously supposed to be like some big reveal that he was a vampire. And there's other issues that I have with that book. But like, I feel like the actual like twist and like the shock factor is completely taken out of that book because of, you know, how everyone just knows what it's about. Anyway, there's that one. Then the last one on this TBR is Haunted Mask, which is a Goosebumps book by R.L. Stine. And in terms of prompts, this one will cover off read a book that takes place in fall and read a book with orange or black on the cover. So yes, so during the different weens, so obviously Summerween is the big one, there's Winterween, they did like a one before at Halloween and they did do a spring one last year, but in general a Goosebumps book seems to end up on my TBR. I will be listening to an audio from Scribd because they tend to be quick, they're short, they go with the theme, and I can normally tick off a couple of prompts without having to read it too much. So really, yeah, that's why. So this, I have been like slowly kind of making my way through them every now and again. I think they're fun, they bring nostalgia from like the 90s and childhood, etc. And I just, yeah, they're fun. But in this one, Face to Face with a Nightmare. How ugly is Carly Beth's Halloween mask? It's so ugly that it almost scared her little brother to death, so terrifying that even her friends are totally freaked out by it. It's the best Halloween mask ever. It's everything Carly Beth hoped it would be and more. Maybe too much more, because Halloween is almost over and Carly Beth is still wearing that special mask. I enjoy the Goosebumps. I think it'll be fun. I've never given them, I think, below a 3 star, so those was quick, fun reads. Yes, that's it for the Summerween TBR. Before I do my randomization, there is one other book that I need to cover off that I will be reading, and this is for Chloe Reads Books, Chloe Crime Scenes Corner Book Club. Read along dates are towards the end of July, which is why this wasn't featured on my Summerween TBR, because I do like to read along with other people. This again is on Scribd and they have the ebook and the audiobook, so I'll need to see at the time what I'm feeling, which format I want to go with. The book that's chosen for July is His Bloody Project by Graham McRae Barnett. And yes, this one, the year is 1869. A brutal triple murder in a remote community in the Scottish Highlands leads to the arrest of a young man by the name of Roderick McRae. A memoir written by the accused makes it clear that he is guilty, but it falls to the country's finest legal and psychiatric minds to uncover what drove him to commit such merciless acts of violence. Was he mad? Only persuasive powers of his advocate stand between McRae and the gallows. Graham McRae Barnett tells an irresistible and original story about the provisional nature of truth even when the facts are clear. His Bloody Project is memorising literary filler. It's an unforgiving landscape where the exercise of power is arbitrary. So yes, this sounds like such a great thriller. It's going to be interesting. I also like the fact that it's like set like back in time as well, because I feel like whenever you read a thriller now it's always like modern day. They never really do like in the past, or there is some, but I think it's going to be really interesting that we have that element. And yeah, and I'll be looking forward to discussing that with everyone as well in the Discord. So yeah, let's now get onto this TBR machine. I'm going to load it up, prep my screen recorder, and we're gonna see what's gonna come out of it. So far I have 4 books that I want to read in July. Obviously most of those are like within 1 week that I'm aiming to read those. So I also have holidays in July. I've got a 2-week holiday, and yes, I will be like chilling on the beach and stuff for a good chunk of that time. So I do have like a good chunk of reading time. And I do feel like I always overestimate how much I will read on holiday, so I don't want to be like too crazy. But I'm thinking, since most of these are in the first week, well, 1 week, not the first week, but with 1 week, and another one is towards the end, there is like about, say, 2 weeks where I don't have anything planned to read. So I'm thinking 3 prompts is the best to go with. I know I normally do 4, but with the amount of books already on this TBR and the fact that I never seem to finish my TBRs at the moment anyway, I'm gonna go with 3. And just one other little caveat, I will allow myself one veto because with it being this like random generator of prompts, sometimes they come out ones that is really difficult to choose something and I end up choosing an obscure book, so I'm allowed to veto one. I will do all three and then I'll go look for books and tell you what I've chosen. Also, if I find that during the month I have by some miracle read all the books on my TBR, I will use this to then pick out other books to read this month as well. So it could end up being more than three, but at least for this video it will be three. Okay, so let's get this little screen recorder going. Okay, randomize my TBR. Let's click and let's see. Read a book from the Rory Gilmore reading list. Oh, for once this year I don't have that as like one of my challenges of the year of books, but that's a huge list. I do own several books, so I will definitely get one of those. So yeah, I should be able to pick a book, no problem. Let's do the second one. Read a book that is based on a true story. Okay. We'll have to have a look and see if I do have anything at the moment that is like based on a true story. Let's see. And let's go in for the final and third one. Read a book with a protagonist who is a person of colour. Okay, no problem. These aren't too bad. I am gonna go away now, have a look at my shelves, come back to you, let you know what I've chosen, or if I'm gonna end up beating one of these if I'm really struggling. So be back in a bit. Okay, real quick before I come back and tell you exactly the books I've chosen, but I'm vetoing read a book that's based on a true story because that obviously means fiction based on a true story, not like a memoir or anything, and I'm not exactly having an easy time finding one on my shelves or one I already own because I am trying to consciously read books I actually own. So I'm gonna screen record, pick another prompt, and hopefully this one is better, guys. Hopefully it's better. Okay, let's go again. So what we're gonna get? Come on, why are you taking forever now? Typical, isn't it? Typical. Why? Okay, finally. Read a book written by a female author. Okay, that's easy. I'll be back with you in a moment. Hey guys, I have gotten the book. So for that Rory Gilmore book, like I said, I knew I had several on my shelves and I decided to go with The Time Traveller's Wife. This was on like my TBR, I feel like December, and I just didn't get to it. It is one that I've been wanting to get for ages. I've had this on my shelf for a long time, guys. We're not going to discuss how long, but it's a Rory Gilmore book, so I will be reading this. Also, I do like taking at least one physical book with me when I'm on holiday, but you will see the other book, the physical one. I also have an ebook on this, but you'll see that, and I think I can take both of them on holiday. This I know is chunky, I know the writing is small, guys. It's like over 500 pages, the writing's small. However, I think between planes, trains, sitting on the beach, etc., I think I'll get a good chunk of this done. I should hopefully get through it in my holiday, plus like these other ones as well. It's this one. This is an extraordinary love story of Claire and Henry, who meet when Claire was 6 and Henry was 36, and were married when Claire was 22 and Henry 30. Impossible but true, because Henry suffers from a rare condition where his genetic clock periodically resets and he finds himself pulled suddenly into his past or future. In the face of this force, they can neither prevent nor control. Henry and Claire's struggle to lead normal lives is both intensely moving and entirely unforgettable. I have always heard such great things about this book, and I'm excited to finally get to it. Hopefully it's okay, an okay book to read in public, because sometimes I know certain books can be emotional, and you know what, if I'm on the beach I'm gonna have sunglasses, so no one's gonna see if I tear up, so that's fine, that's fine. Then for the prompt of the book where the main character is a person of colour, I have went for The Davenports by Crystal Marquise. This is a NetGalley ARC that I got, and I even started this back in February. This came out in February. It's YA romance. The start of my bad reading period, so I never finished it. I got like 30% of the way through. I will start again from the beginning. It wasn't the book's fault, it was me, because I was struggling with different books of different genres, etc. But yes, I'm looking forward to reading this one. It is YA historical romance, I should say. So the Davenports are one of the few black families of immense wealth and status in the changing United States. Their fortune made through through the entrepreneurship of William Davenport, a formerly enslaved man who founded the Davenport Carriage Company years ago. Olivia, the beautiful eldest Davenport daughter, is ready to do her duty and marry until charismatic civil rights leader Washington Dwight sweeps into town and sparks fly. Her younger sister Helen is more interested in fixing cars than falling in love unless it's with her sister's betrothed. Amy Rose, childhood friend turned maid to the Davenport sisters, dreams of opening her own business and marrying the one man she could never be with, Olivia and Helen's brother John. But Olivia's best friend Ruby also has her sights set on John Davenport, though she can't seem to keep his interest until family pressure has her scheming to win his heart just as someone else wins hers. Inspired by the real life story of the Patterson family, the Davenports follow 4 determined and passionate young black women as they discover the courage to steer their own path in love and life. Guys, I just realised this could have been also the pick for based on a true story. I didn't know this before because on the NetGalley original synopsis, this is now the Amazon one I'm looking at, but on the original synopsis it never mentioned that. I had no idea it was based on a real life story of an actual family. Well guys, I've already chosen another prompt, okay, and I've already chosen a book that I really want to read for that one as well, so we're going to stick with it how it is. But I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea this was actually based on a real family. Obviously the events I assume is like highly fictionalized, but I had no idea. So anyway, that brings me to my last book on this, which is written by a female author, and that is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I know they are like a dual author, but they're women, so we're going with it. Like I said, this is on my summer TBR, and I now realise that none of these other books on this July TBR are actually on my summer TBR, so I picked amazingly well, guys. I really picked these amazingly well. But anyway, this will be the perfect read to have with me on holiday, because like summer, scream summer, as I said in my summer TBR video, and I really need to read those summer TBR books, guys. Really need to read them. But anyway, in this one we have our 2 main characters. One of them, she is the bridesmaid, the other one is the groomsman. He is the brother of the groom, I think, and she's maybe the best friend of the bride. But the 2 of them don't get on. They hate each other. Guys, love enemies to lovers, in case you didn't know, but love them. They don't like each other. However, what happens is the entire guest list, every single person at that wedding, apart from the 2 of them, end up getting food poisoning. That means that there's an all-inclusive paid honeymoon to Hawaii, I want to say. Hawaii, yes, up for grabs, and as they're the only 2 that weren't ill, they're the ones who get to go on it. Obviously things happen, and she also bumps into her boss, I believe. So yes, they put aside their mutual hatred for each other so they can go to paradise, because you know, who wouldn't want a free vacation, all expenses paid. She ends up running into her future boss while she's on this, and she tells him a white lie, which ends up spiraling out of control. I can only imagine what that white lie is. So yes, it sounds super interesting, fun, perfect summer read, perfect holiday read, and that is it, guys. That is all of the picks on this TBR. There is quite a few this month, but I think I can do it. I say this every month, but I do think I can read all of these, guys. Let me know which one you think I'm gonna like the most, and what is your priority read for July. Hit that like button, hit subscribe if you want to see more content from me, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye! Until one night, erased and entrepreneur,